Welcome to the Seaglass Perspective, a podcast about finding resilience as we weather the storm, presented by Seaglass Counseling and Wellness Center. I'm your host, Chris Nackos, and I wanted to use this episode to share a poem with you all. I came across this early in my career, and I've been presenting it to clients ever since. It was written in the late 70s by Portia Nelson in her book, There's a Hole in My Sidewalk, The Romance of Self-Discovery. Chapter 1. I walk down the street. There's a deep hole in the sidewalk. I fall in. I am lost. I am helpless. It isn't my fault. It takes forever to find a way out. Chapter 2. I walk down the same street. There's a deep hole in the sidewalk. I still don't see it. I fall in again. I can't believe I'm in the same place. It isn't my fault. It still takes a long time to get out. Chapter 3. I walk down the same street. There's a deep hole in the sidewalk. I see it there. I still fall in. It's habit. It's my fault. I know where I am. I get out immediately. Chapter 4. I walk down the same street. There's a deep hole in the sidewalk. I walk around it. Chapter 5. I walk down a different street. Now, I love this poem for the way that it describes succinctly and concisely the process of change. It starts out with the writer unaware that a problem exists. Of course, she encounters the problem, falls in the hole, and is at a complete loss for what just happened and consequently what to do about it. This difficulty coping is because of the inability to see problems before they've happened and makes the process of overcoming those problems take a really long time, require a significant amount of effort. In chapter 2, the writer is once again caught off guard as she encounters the same problem. Now, here we assume that if we encountered an issue in the past, we should be able to anticipate and avoid the same problem going forward. Unfortunately, we're only human, and we cannot live our lives with our head on a swivel. The ability to anticipate problems within our lives is fairly limited and usually requires a lot of processing and reflection. Consequently, we're very likely to be caught off guard by the same repeated stressors. In chapter 3, the writer anticipates the problem. She knows it's there, but still succumbs to it. And here's where we usually start kicking ourselves for having fallen into the same trap, encountering the same problem, or for having done the same things over and over again. This is particularly worse when people around us begin to become impatient or don't quite understand what it is that we're struggling with or why. Even though we can identify and anticipate these issues, the process of making meaningful, lasting change in our lives can take time, sometimes days, weeks, months, even years. Even as we develop insight and awareness, we're bound to encounter and struggle with the same issues over and over again. Here, the writer acknowledges that it is her fault that she's in the hole again. Now, this is not for the purpose of shaming herself for being there. Right? There's no guilt attached to this necessarily. Rather, it's the acknowledgement that given the insight that she has developed over time and the success that she has had overcoming the problem, in spite of how hard that may have been in the past, she has assumed the responsibility for knowing both how she ended up in that hole and for how to get out of it. And consequently, she's able to get out very quickly, immediately. In fact. By chapter 4, the writer is now coping proactively, anticipating the problem, being able to avoid it entirely. No need to struggle, no need to fight to overcome the issue. She just walks around it. And by chapter 5, she's walking down an entirely different street. Now, doing so may add extra time and distance to her walk, but that's okay because regardless of whether or not there's a hole on that other street, she knows that the one she's been falling into isn't. I go down a new street and I leave the old hole where it was in the past. This highlights the overall goals for therapy and honestly for life in general. To be able to develop awareness and insight based on our experiences throughout our life up to this point, and to be able to apply that knowledge to anticipate issues and proactively cope with them through new ways of living our lives. Working with people over the course of several years at a time grants me the opportunity to reflect with them on the progress that they've made, calling attention to the ways that they have changed how they operate day to day and how this has led to their ability to handle the same problems very differently. This can take the form of setting more healthy and effective boundaries in their relationships, being able to process their emotions and accept them more effectively, more openly, or being able to create new habits and routines that help them manage their day to day stress. Once again, this overarching process can take quite a long time. Rarely does it happen quickly. But if we have patience with ourselves, the resilience to persist through stress, and the strength to make the necessary changes in our lives, it will ultimately lead to a happier, more balanced life. At the very least, it'll be less stressful. Now, I want to thank you for joining me today. As always, if you have any thoughts, questions, concerns, do not hesitate to reach out to me, either in the comments section or by checking out our website, seaglasscounseling.com. I'm your host, Chris Nackos, and I'll see you next time here on the Seaglass Perspective.